Hello, TCU TV fans. This is Adam22. I would like to apologize first for our noted absence. We haven't had a new episode in like 3 weeks, and I feel kind of guilty about it. My excuse is going to be that Catfish has been traveling, doing this Nitro Circus thing, and also I've just been going hard on No Jumper, doing all this other stuff. But finally today, I have a guest who I'm very, very excited to interview. You actually were on the show maybe a month and a half ago with Sean McIntosh. This is the one and only Reed Stark.
Hello.
What's up, brother?
Chilling.
Hey, it's nice to see you, man. I understand that you just got back from this wild trip to Morocco. Or explain to me this voyage.
Yeah, I started out in Bordeaux, France for like a BSD trip. This is one of the last ones for filming for the new DVD Transmission.
Ooh, okay.
And it's just like 5 days, so it was pretty intense. I was there and then flew to Estonia for Simple Session.
Okay.
Then I went to Amsterdam.
But how was France overall? Was your first time there?
Yeah, well, no, I'd been to France. I've been to like pretty much every other part like around it. I took like a tour last year through it. But yeah, it was sick. Bordeaux is a really nice city, except for first day I ended up getting shot at.
Oh my God, I remember that story. What the fuck happened?
Oh man, it was fucking crazy. It was raining and we went to the skate park first day. So I'm like pretty jet lagged and everything.
Right.
We're at this skate park for a bit, and then afterwards, like, we're gonna go to this DIY. We've been building it in this random like abandoned hangar for the last 6 months or so. They go there like every day, and we show up riding, and all of a sudden these two like French gypsies. I'm like, shoot! I like walk out the back because they're like, yo, you gotta go check out this dead dog. And there's in this room outside of the hangar, there's a dead dog, like he's as big as a human, laying on a mattress, like his ribs exposed and everything. I'm like, holy fuck! So I shoot a photo of it. And I walk out, and right there's like a dad and a son, like two French gypsies.
So you lock eyes with them. You actually see them.
I'm just like, yo, what's up? And they give me this look, and they're like, you know, super pissed. And I'm like, what the fuck? And they have two dogs with them. And all of a sudden, they like start saying shit in French. I don't know what they're saying. And the dogs like come at me and start trying to like attack me. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I start like riding away, like kicking at the dogs. And they're nearly biting me. And I go back in the hangar. I'm like, yo, there's two dudes out there, and they're fucking pissed. Like, I don't know what's going on. And then they walk in the hangar. There's like 8 of us in there, probably $5,000-$6,000.
But what was the hangar? What were you riding in there?
It was just like a DIY. It was like, just like, I don't know, they built like a 6-foot hip, like a tranny hip.
But these guys were that surprised by some people riding it?
No, yeah, I don't know. I think they were cool. They used to be cool with them coming there, but it was like 8 of us. So I think they were like freaked out by the number of people. And
is it in like a rural ass area, I'm assuming?
Kind of. It's like outside the city. It's like across the river where there's like a bit of like old manufacturing plants and shit like that. And yeah, we're just hanging out, and there's just a huge abandoned building, you know, massive hangar. And the dudes walk in, and they start talking in French with the other guys, and they like start kind of like yelling, and I'm just standing to the side, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This is weird. And then it was like an older dude, probably like 60, and then his son, which I found out later. And the whole time I'm asking what's going on, and the French dudes, no one says anything to me. So I'm just like, well, this is crazy. And then the son walks out, comes back in with a pistol and a fucking Kalashnikov, which is like a Russian war gun, like a semi-automatic. And he like cocks the shit and just has them both. Oh, and when I was like walking with the dogs, the dude had like a cane.
Right.
And turns out that was a sheath for a katana.
Oh my God.
And then they walk in and they're like, they have the guns and they're like, whoa, what the fuck? Like the French dudes go and talk to him. And I'm like, this is fucked. I'm just going to skirt out the back. And me and this one French dude kind of like start walking. We hop this fence and start walking through like, it's probably like a football field long. It's like a muddy ass field. So I'm carrying my bike. And all of a sudden behind me come all the rest of the dudes throwing their bikes over the fence and just start dipping. And I'm like, yo, what's going on? No one says anything. And I'm just like, I start running with them, trying to hold up my pants, like carrying my bike. And then all of a sudden, pop. I'm like, was that a fucking gunshot? And then like 10 seconds go by, we're still running through the field, like kind of like serpentining, you know, just to avoid getting shot, I guess. And then the second shot came, and the dudes behind me said they literally heard it go, sa-ta-ta-ta-ta, like right past their ear.
Right.
And then we hopped in the car and sped off, and DIY's gone. Like, they're never going back there.
Right.
But I guess the French dudes, like the French gypsies were saying to the French guys, like, we don't give a fuck. Like, we're going to kill all of you. Right. Like, I don't care if you're going to leave. Like, we're still going to kill all of you and all this shit. So they were like, I don't know, they're on a fucking mission.
There's supposed to be no gun crime in Europe.
Yeah. They were super surprised. They're like, that's the first time we've seen guns in France and all this shit. Like, if you go to Marseille, it's kind of sketchy. Like, a lot of people, because there's like a big drug trading scene there. But other than that, it's super chill. And in Paris, I guess, it's sketchy.
What were the guys so mad about?
just crazy French gypsies, fucking inbred, you know.
But did they even have like permission to be watching that space, or was it just they just took it into their own hands?
Yeah, they're like squatting, you know. I don't know if they like lived in the back area near that dead dog or some shit, but they came around heated.
That is fucked.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the dogs, what they were saying to the dogs, like as soon as I saw the dead dog, shot the photo and walked, I was like, oh hey. They're yelling at the dogs, eat him in French.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was freaking out, dude. I was like, man, this is the first day in Europe. Like, I don't know what else is gonna happen on this trip, but after that, I was pretty much just like, fuck it, like trying like riding moves, shit like that. I was like, dude, I almost just died.
Yeah,
like,
did that inspire your spirit a little bit?
Yeah, dude. I was like, if I just survive that, like one of the cat lives gone, you know, but I can still mob. Like, fuck it, might as well like send some scary rail moves, things like that. So the next 5 days in France, I was fearless.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
near death experience is great for that.
Yeah, and then the rest of the trip, like I was there for like 2 months in Europe, and it was sick. I had that same mentality. It was just kind of like, fuck it. Like, if I could deal with something like that and keep going, then.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So then, okay, Estonia in comparison, was that your first time going to Simple Session?
Yeah.
Okay, and did you love it?
Yeah.
Why? Let's hear it. I love Estonia. I missed my fucking flight.
Yeah, I heard. I was like, hey, I'm supposed to be here. What the hell?
Well, also, they technically told me to take the wrong flight. I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah. Slipping.
Fuck it.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Like, riding was pretty weird just because, I don't know, it's like mixed, like, street and park. So it's kind of like, how do you judge?
Oh,
like,
during the contest.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous,
contest
right?
shit. How do you judge like a triple tail up to bar spin compared to like a bar crook 180?
And every year
like
it gets
that.
so much worse because every year street gets slower kind of and more nibbly and more grind oriented, and the park ride keeps getting higher and more flips and more whips and more. It's just keep becoming more and more of a different sport.
Yeah, I don't know. It's cool that everyone can ride in the same contest, but it's really hard to judge. Like I think this year there was like 20 people made finals, and 2 of them were street riders.
Right.
It's just like Courage Adams and I think Brock.
That's harsh.
Yeah.
Did you feel like you should have qualified?
No. I don't know. I rode all right.
How do you feel about yourself as a contest rider?
Yeah, new thing for me, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really fun. It's just weird, though, because, like, even at this Vans thing I was at this weekend, like, people are they're using the whole course.
Right.
You know, like, they're doing, like, grind, manual, bar, grind, manual, whip, whatever the fuck.
Right.
And for me, my riding is just, like, this move right here, and maybe if there's something after it that I'm psyched on, then I can go send that.
Right.
But it's like, even I was thinking if I were to judge it, I don't even know how I'd judge it.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be really difficult, but I do like contests. They're fun.
Yeah, I feel weird about it too because I don't know that anybody really wants to watch the bar manual to ice pick the bar to manual to, you know, it's just like in a contest I don't really care about watching like how consistent you are with that, you know. To me that stuff is a little bit more, I'd rather watch it on a web video or something. A contest, you should be sending it, don't you think?
I don't know. Well, it depends what the course calls for.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to
like think about the Vans park. It's like literally rail lines up to another rail, lines up to another rail.
But I've got zero interest in. I didn't watch anything from the contest. I have no idea what happened because it's just not. It doesn't really strike me as like an interesting thing to be doing in a contest. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I'm kind of starting to sound like you. Fuck this new shit.
Yeah. No, people are hyped though. You know, like if someone does like manual grind, like at that time people are stoked.
Right.
They're like, oh, what's he gonna do after this? And then if they land it, the crowd goes crazy.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But
hear you.
I just like to go fast because that's really the only way I can like differentiate myself from
Right.
other types of riding.
So then, what about Estonia from the nightlife perspective or whatever? It's ridiculous, right?
Dude, it's too much.
Yeah.
it's so overwhelming. I don't know. Like I don't know what the girl to guy ratio is in Estonia, but
in those nightclubs, it seems like 80 to 20. Yeah.
You walk into a club and there's like probably 4 groups of girls, probably 6 girls in each group.
Yeah.
And like 5 guys there.
Yeah.
And you're just looking around like, wait, what is going on?
does that happen?
I've never seen this before in my life.
What had to happen biologically for Estonia to have so many hot girls and like so few like worthwhile? Well, I don't want to insult Estonian men, no offense, but just seems like I think they're just out in force because they really want to meet an American guy.
Yeah, and like I've heard like they're like pretty serious. Like a lot of the guys there, blah blah blah, you know, like buff guys type shit.
Okay.
So then when like someone comes in from America or
Like
something,
us.
and you're all bubbly and happy and can talk to them, they speak really good English
making
too.
gay jokes and like slapping your friend's ass.
All sorts of weird shit. But
Yeah.
you know, they're just like, wow, that's crazy, and then they love it.
That makes me feel so happy to know that we could be like marketable because we're a little bit weird.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm into it.
Fucking bunch of meatheads out there in Estonia. All right, so then you leave Estonia and you go to Morocco, and that's the final stop of this voyage?
Nah,
or?
I went from Estonia, and then I was just looking for a cheap flight because BSD like paid for my shit from like to get to the contest and go
Right.
on the trip. But then after that, I was like, yo, just extend my flight for like a few months, and then I'm just gonna mob around on my own. So I went to Amsterdam for like 4 days, met up with Roy Van Kempen and like the Orange Juice crew and all that, and rode with them. That was sick.
Hell yeah.
Loved it there. It was like the first time I felt really free in my life. You know,
in your
like,
whole life.
Yeah, like you can do whatever you want.
Amsterdam's good for that.
Yeah, no one's gonna look at you and be like, "Why are you doing that?" If you're not harming anyone, it's okay. You know. And
I never like when I went there, I never like fucked any of the hookers, but I found it really cool that you could see the hookers just sitting there on the side of the road. Like, wow, this is how it should be. Like everything that's bad in the world that we consider bad should be legalized and then governed in an intelligent way.
Yeah. I mean, if it's like if you leave, you know, the choice up to the human,
right?
Then they're usually going to choose good. Like all the dudes there who I met, none of them smoked weed.
Really?
And, you know, weed's legal. There's coffee shops everywhere. None of them smoked weed.
Right.
So I was like, like it clearly works.
Yeah.
I mean, they drink, but everyone drinks.
I don't think like legalized heroin makes you want to do heroin more.
No, it deters it because it's like, I can do whatever the hell I want. It's not like this like big thing that's built up. It's kind of like the drinking age in America. Like if it's 21, then you're building up to it and you're just like, I'm going to get fucking wasted. And then you just ruin your life in a year. Whereas in Europe, they like start drinking when they're like 12 to 16. They'll have like wine at dinner.
Right.
And it's a social thing. It's not like, let's get wasted.
Yeah. So where else you go? Amsterdam, and then there's going to be a lot of other locations in this trip because you said it was multiple months.
Yeah. I went to Amsterdam. Usually I travel places for like a few weeks at a time. But this one, it was like boom, boom, boom. You know, like 5 days, 6 days, maybe a week. But went from Amsterdam and flew to Barcelona just for a night, and then drove up with Eric Sands and Simone and all them. We like took a bus to Montpellier for feast contest, which was really fun. That's like craziest party I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
People lighting bonfires in the street, climbing statues.
I gotta
like,
get out there. That sounds amazing.
It's insane.
Yeah.
There's like 600 people watching the contest. I think there's 500,000 people that go to the contest in the weekend. It's France. It's like the second biggest event in France.
500,000 is like there's nothing that I could think of in America that gets that many people that go to it.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I think even like the Super Bowl isn't 500,000 fucking people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, then there's like, it reminded me of like the X Games back in the 90s or some shit, where there's like, it's on a river and they build like a skate park on this float on the river, and they have a wakeboarding section. Like
it's on the river?
Yeah.
So does it shake from time to time?
Yeah. I guess like the wood gets really warped.
Yeah.
The street contest was on the side. They like had a different section for that. But yeah, there's like, they have a wakeboarding, that, and like there's all these fucking crazy events set up that you can go to, bars, and yeah, it was madness. They had like even like a mega ramp set up. They had a mountain bike, like a downhill crazy mountain bike course, an inline rollerblading course.
That's still big in France.
Yeah, that's like huge.
Very good to know.
It's bigger than the BMX course.
Wow.
Yeah, like,
they had a whole separate course for the rollerblading?
Yup.
And they won't give us shit at X Games or Do Tour. That's insane.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, it was like 300 meters long or some shit like that. And like you like hit this massive hip, and then it was just like a line. It's this crazy line that was like a rhythm section, but with street.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was cool.
Okay, so then you do feast.
We're
then like the extremely sped up version now. I feel like.
Sorry.
Feast, and then what?
And then we buzzed down to Barcelona. I stayed there for like a month.
Right.
Experienced all that crazy shit. I've been there before, so it was nothing new. But
Barcelona for a month.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Barcelona's amazing. And then from Barcelona, went with this dude James Dean from Canada. He does all the World D shit.
Also does porn.
Yeah.
Different guy. I'm assuming.
But yeah. And then I went with him. He's like, dude, I'm trying to go to Africa, and I was like, I'm trying to go to Africa. Let's do it. And then we looked at flights to Morocco. It was like 50 euro. So we just took a one-way to Africa.
Right.
And then from there, we just...
It's 50 euros to go to Morocco from Barcelona?
Beast.
Jesus Christ. Nobody does this, do they? Like, nobody travels there from there, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. So we went there, and we just cruised around the whole country. Like, pretty much every city. Went to the desert, went to the mountains. Like,
for how long?
3 weeks, I think it was.
Wow. Was it incredible?
One of the best countries I've ever been to.
You came up back and your entire wardrobe had changed. Can you explain the shirt to me?
Yeah, this is a jalaba. It's pretty much the best thing ever. It's like a sleeping bag, a beach towel, underwear, t-shirt, hoodie. it's a pillow for like flights. It's everything in one,
Right.
So I ended up like getting one of these, and they like hand stitch it up. You like go into the shop, they sew it up for you. Got one, and then later on the trip, I was like, dude, I need more of these.
Yeah.
So I ended up buying 4 of them.
Are they expensive or anything?
No, this was like $10, and he hand stitched it to like customize it for me, and then the other ones I got for like $1 or $2.
And so in one day, you'll use it as like a sleeping bag, a beach towel, a shirt, all your clothing for the day.
Everything. You can change in it. It goes all the way to the floor, so you can like change underneath it at the beach if you need to do that.
Wow.
Like, it's warm when it's cold, and it's cool when it's hot.
They should
'cause it
give
blocks
those
the
things
sun.
to the homeless people around here.
Oh, geez, it's amazing. I understand why the whole country wears them. Like, it's a Muslim thing, but it's amazing.
Why own like a pair of pants, a shirt, a hat, everything? You just have one item of
Just
clothing.
one item.
It makes so much sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah, so I gave away all my clothes there to make room for the jalabas,
Okay.
and then now I got like 4 of them.
Okay.
So.
And you're putting BSD stickers on them to keep the sponsors happy.
Yeah. It was for the fans contest. I was
Shout
like,
out to Grant Smith.
yeah, I was like, Grant's gonna be pissed if I don't wear a BSC shirt, but I was like, I'm really comfortable in the jalaba. I don't want to like, I don't know. So I ended up just wearing it, slapping. People were like, "How'd you get that stitched in?" I think you said that when I
I
walked in.
just said it. It doesn't really look like a sticker to me. You did a really good job pushing it on.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Fantastic. But so you're from Minnesota. Mm-hmm. What's this upbringing like? It's very kind of a strange scene that you came up with, and a lot of people might not know that your older brother, was probably like the reason you got into BMX, right?
Very true.
Okay.
Very true. Yeah, it's amazing. It's not that great for riding just because it's cold in the winter, and we don't really have very many indoor parks because no one goes there in the summer because the summer's beautiful,
Right.
And they get shut down. But yeah, it was really cool, like a really good scene. I grew up with like pretty much all my brother's friends, like the Team Dilly dudes,
Right.
and yeah, it was amazing. There's tons of rails and shit. So since I was probably like 12 years old, I was going out in the streets and riding rails. And
Were
shit.
you always like pretty street oriented?
I started out in the skate park.
Right.
Like I started around when I was 9, and then from there till like age 12 or 13, I was riding parks.
Right.
And then after that, it was like, fuck, why would I pay to ride a skate park if I could just go and ride street? And
But were you always attracted to like doing big ass rails and stuff? And
well, we just have a lot of them.
Right.
Saying that, like, product of your environment type
Yeah,
shit.
totally.
Like, we just have a ton of perfect steel rails. So ever since I was young, it was just like, wow, that's sick. And like the juice you get from like when you land a rail, it's no other feeling in the world.
so when you started riding, was your brother already doing the Team Dilly videos?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was making videos for TwinCitiesBMX.com.
Right.
Like since I started pretty much. Like right away he had a camera.
Right.
So I was always around filming and shit. And even when I was growing up, he would be like, if I was scared to do something, he'd be like, dude, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? So that he was definitely the one who would push me to like try crazy shit. Because I was
Right.
like, fuck yeah, like
'Cause
what is the worst thing that's gonna
That's
happen?
so rare to think that your brother was not just riding but also making videos. Like he already kind of had, and the videos were pretty like influential. By the time you were in them, at least they started to be like pretty official. People were actually really paying attention to him and stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He started with a VHS when I think I had like a clip or two in the VHS. No, I had a part in the VHS, but that was like all skate park shit.
Okay.
Maybe like I think the banger was a rail. It was like one of my first
When did you
rails.
get around to like actually filming like a full section? And was it the kind of thing where you wanted to, and he was sort of like, no, you're not ready yet?
No, I filmed a full section when I was like, I think 11.
Oh, really?
That's when it came out. That was on VHS.
Right.
Seen from the outside. That was my brother's first video. And then after that, he made a Team Dilly video. But he was getting a little bit older, and it wasn't cool for me to really hang out with him and his friends that much, because they were like partying and shit. So I couldn't really do that. And then it got to a point where I was like 15, 16, and then it was like cool for me to hang out with them.
Right.
And then I started filming. I had like 4 or 5 clips and Ride Away on Your Pussy Ass Bike. That
Right,
was like
yeah,
the
yeah.
first DVD. And then I think It Do was the video after that. And I
Right.
filmed like a full section for that.
Yeah.
And that was like all street shit and
Who was your first sponsor?
catfish.com.
You have to say that just because he's been saying it to you every time he sees you for his whole life?
It's real. Like I still have like a signed poster of like him and Quim Semling and all these dudes on like the DK team in my room.
Right.
Like he sent me parts and shit when I was like, I think like 10.
Right.
So I was like, wow, like this is crazy.
Catfish.com apparently was a real website at some point. I don't really remember it. Like he always talks about how important it was, but I don't really remember it. And I know that he hates that I don't really remember it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. People were into it. It was
Yeah,
cool.
it
I
was a thing.
looked at it. I definitely shouldn't have been looking at it at that age
Right.
because it was a little bit, rated
Did you
R,
get
I guess,
exposed to
but
a lot of bad things in life through BMX?
most certainly.
Yeah, like what?
Fuck, drinking everything,
Drinking,
like
mhm.
since I was young, I was hanging out. When I was like 11, I was hanging out with like 23-year-olds,
Right.
shit like that. So
Yeah.
like just the conversation, I couldn't really get involved with it, but it was always like, wait, what's that? What's that? And then I just kind of like figured out. And then like with me and all the kids in school, like I definitely knew way more about bad shit
Right.
when I was younger.
Yeah.
But
When I think about it, I'm really glad that when I was 11, I pretty much only knew other 11-year-olds
yeah,
because I might have got too much information that I wasn't ready to process at that time.
most certainly. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's all right. It hasn't fucked me up too bad, I guess.
Yeah. So what about after Catfish? Who was the next sponsor?
Sunday. After It Do dropped, my brother sent it to Charlie Crumlish,
Right.
and he showed Jim C. And then Sunday started hooking me up, just like flowing me shit. That was amazing.
Right.
And I rode for them for like a few years, and then I was on a Sun Ringley hooked me up as well.
Right.
Like the old rim company, they're not around anymore.
They're not around at all, or was it like a change of name and stuff?
Nah, they're not around. It was under Hayes Components.
Right.
And John Wells is like my dude, and he's like the TM. But he ended up getting a new job, so it was kind of like Sun Relay was pretty much gone.
Yeah.
BMX Parks. They make all sorts of crazy components for
Right.
motorcycles and shit. And yeah, I don't know.
But so what? Then you got on BSD somehow?
Yeah, I was on my first trip when I was 17. Like, first one, my mom was like, "You can go on this trip," and it was sick. You know, she talked to Jonathan. You know, and John Wells turns chill, he turns turns serious. He turns into Jonathan.
Interesting.
And he like called her and was like, "Yeah, I'll take care of him and all this stuff." And I was 17, went on that trip, and in the middle of the trip, Maloof was like, he was the new TM I think for BSD, and he was like, "Dude, like, I want to get you on BSD."
Right.
And yeah, he ended up. I was like, "Fuck it, it sounds sick." I've never even heard of the company, and
But was BSD sick at the time? Because I feel like they're super sick now, but you might not have thought that they were all the way back then.
yeah, I didn't really know much about it back then. But yeah, I was just like, "It sounds sick." He's like, "Yeah, we're gonna like pay you a little bit of money and all this," and I was like, "Well, fuck," you know. And he's like, "If this doesn't happen, I'm gonna quit." And ever since then, like, everything that BSD has said would happen has happened. They're like, "We're gonna get you a signature part," and I ended up getting Giraffic bars.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know, it was amazing. Just been with them ever since. So that
And the team's insane. The team is like, I don't know, there's like a certain type of vibe about the team or something that like BSD keeps getting voted like brand of the year or whatever, the Ride UK thing or whatever it is. I don't know. It just seems like it's a good job has been done in creating like a really good crew there. Has it been weird because you've been there for most of it, watching it develop?
nah, it's sick, man. Like, everyone's really good friends. We go on trips, just laughs. Like,
Yeah.
good time all around. I can't say I've ever had a bad BSD trip.
Right.
No one on the team really butts heads. Like,
Right.
it's all good.
When it's very like traveling based as well. Like you guys do a lot of trips and shit, huh?
Yeah, that's like the most of it. Like, early on, I didn't really make much money, but it was like I could travel the world.
Right.
You know, so I went to Scotland when I was, I think, like 17 or 18.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, like, even like big time pros in America had never even been to Scotland because that's where BSD's out of.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, fuck, I get to go overseas. Like, this is sick.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even care about money. If I can like get just a little bit to get by and do that,
Do you think kids kind of miss out on that whole idea that like traveling is the most important thing sometimes in BMX now?
Definitely. I mean, fuck, vegan, dude. I'm telling the vegan, I'm like, dude, you can come on one of these crazy trips with me. Definitely. And
Yeah.
he's just like, I like LA. But it's just different strokes for different folks. Like,
It's weird with young kids how they get into this like mind state of like wanting to be comfortable. And traveling is the opposite of being comfortable. Like you're not going to be comfortable when you're on a BMX trip.
definitely. You just sleeping in hammocks in the middle of fucking nowhere, sleeping on people's floors with ants crawling all over you. Like,
Oh,
I've
God,
been in some
ants crawling over me. I don't know if I'm going to deal with that.
staying at bike shops on the floor. Like, I've stayed in some crazy places.
Yeah,
but-
you're making me feel old too because those are all things I would have been super excited to do when I was younger. Like, oh, I'm gonna sleep on the floor in the bike shop, and now I'm thinking about me as an adult. I'm like, yeah, I ain't sleeping on the floor in the bike shop.
yeah, exactly. Like, as you go on, you want to be more comfortable.
Right,
you want to
yeah.
have financial security and shit like that. But right now, I really have like no responsibility.
Right.
And I have enough income to eat and travel, so I haven't really had a home since I graduated school.
And you're about to go on another trip?
Yeah, and I go back to Minnesota for like a family trip for like 6 days,
Uh-huh.
and then from there I'm flying to Tokyo.
Wow. For how long?
Well, it's like only like a week thing. It's for this G-Shock contest.
Oh, okay.
But I asked them to extend my flight for like another month or so. So
Right.
I'm just gonna mob around Asia.
But are you in the position where they're buying you a flight to come out to the contest?
Yeah, they
That's
like paid
sick.
for my flight, and then
Oh,
after
yeah.
that it's just all me. So I'm
That's
just gonna
awesome.
cruise around Asia. I want to go like the Philippines, maybe Vietnam.
Really? And do you have like any connects, like people that you're planning on staying with out there? Or?
No.
What's the most important things for you to do when you're traveling? Since I'm assuming like in Tokyo, you're not going to have a real filmer, so it's not like you're going to be on like a filming mission. What is like your priorities of like what do you like to do when you're out there? Just ride around all the time, or do you like to pick out tourist destinations? Or
I don't know. It depends. You know, sometimes if a city's really sick for riding, I just like to get to a new city and just pal around and see if I can find weird cuts and nibs
Yeah.
and jibs and shit like that. But yeah, like checking out some touristy shit if there's really anything cool, like if there's a hot spring or somewhere to go rock climbing or
Right.
something crazy like that. Just the first thing I do when I go to a city is look for the highest mountain and climb it with my bike.
Really?
And then you can like look out over everything and be like, all right, this is where I'm staying. That's where maybe the ocean is or whatever. And then you kind of get your bearings. And
Wow.
then from there you just mob around.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I have no sense of direction, so it's very fascinating to me that you would do that. But I think that's probably a really good idea.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Tokyo's insane.
Yeah, I've never been to Japan or really Asia. I mean, I went to Israel, but that's not really
Freakishly
Asia.
clean.
Really?
In Japan, yeah, it's weird how clean it is. Like, nobody will litter. I wish that people had that in their head in my home, that you can't just leave anything on the ground or whatever.
Yeah, they don't care.
It's amazing though. But there's also insane security. But the spots are pretty fucking unreal.
Hell yeah.
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 So yeah, going back, like what? Okay, the Giraffic name, because you were just talking about your BSD parts. Was that an intentional thing on your part? Like, oh, I'm going to create this like brand name for myself that will help set apart my parts and everything.
Yeah, well, I went to school for like it was like strategic communication, so pretty much like marketing, account
Right.
planning, shit like that. Um, and yeah, I knew I wanted to do something. I knew I wanted to have a symbol, like a brand type thing like that. And the first trip I went on with BSD was Mega Tour 10.
Okay.
And well, I think it was maybe the second one, but the first one with the team, and they called me Giraffic Mark just because I'm super tall,
Right.
and I have like a long neck, so I look kind of like a giraffe.
That's funny because that's when we were all saying Mark a lot. Like
Yeah, exactly.
Maloof and everybody was all
Yeah.
saying Mark.
So it's like Reed Stark, Giraffic Mark, kind of like it's kind of like Jurassic Park.
right. So your giraffe thing is solely based on the fact that you're like weirdly tall and
Yeah.
okay. And you have a really long neck, so I guess specifically giraffe-ish.
Yeah, it's definitely
He's like kind of
a little
nervous.
bit
Yeah.
long. Yeah, dude. But no, yeah, I don't know. They called me that, and then I was like, shit. Like Grant's like, we should do some bars, and I was like, obviously, I want to have taller bars. And at the time, like 8 was the biggest rise for bars for the most part,
okay.
other than like the slam bars. And I was like, damn, well, I want to do
Slam
big
bars were
ones.
8.
Were they?
Yeah.
Oh well.
They might have like Slam Plus. They were like 8 1/4.
Yeah, I think they had something that was bigger, but
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, oh, doing taller bars, so I want to do 9-inch rise bars, and then it was like, just makes sense, call them giraffic bars, because long neck, you know, they're taller.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
There you go. But you stuck with it with like the seat and everything. You like the giraffe print. Is there like a long game with this? Like in terms of branding yourself, or like how do you view this?
Yeah, well, like giraffic led into the pedals, and the pedals, I came up with the pedals even before the giraffic bars. I knew I wanted pedals, like plastic pedals with more pins on the corners, because if your like bike tumbles, one of them will get blasted off, and if your corner pin gets blasted off your foot,
It's
you know,
a
like,
corner pin. That's what does it.
yeah, the corner pin, if it's gone, then your foot just blows off all the time.
Right.
And I didn't really have much money, so I was like always buying pedals and shit, and it was like, this sucks. Like if you
Right.
break one pin on one move when your bike tumbles, then you're done. So I was like, I need to make pedals with more of them, so then there's more durability, like they last for longer and everything.
Yeah.
So I had that idea to have like the extra pins in the corners, and at the time, no one had ever done it. So those like, and then we were coming up with the name forever. I was gonna call them like Savage Pedals or something weird like that. And then one day Grant was like, he's like, dude, he's like Safari Pedals, and we're
Right,
like,
okay.
because giraffes and the safari shit like that. And I'm always going on trips,
Yeah.
so it fits. And we're like, all right, Safari Pedals. You can take them on a safari, and they're still gonna stay dialed. So yeah, I came up with this, or he came up with the Safari thing. We call them Safari pedals. Like that whole process, like designing the pedals, was like my senior project for college.
Really?
Yeah, like the whole year I did multiple projects, like interviewing riders in Minnesota, doing online surveys, shit like that, coming up with like what features are most important with pedals, what people needed, what people didn't like, and I used that to design the whole entire pedal.
Probably the most well-researched signature pedal of all time.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it was like I did pretty well on all the projects and everything. And then like at the end, like when I graduated, I like actually had photos of the pedal.
Right.
And I was showing all these people like it was kind of like a thesis thing, and they were looking through and they're like, "Wait, so you're actually producing these?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Because who the fuck else has like access to like high-end like plastic molding
Yeah.
places in Asia or whatever like Grant was using to make it? That's so crazy.
Yeah, so they brought it in and everyone was just so stoked. And then I set goals and shit, you know, for the whole project. And
Right.
I wanted to sell more than, I hate to say it, but I used Odyssey Twisteds. And I was like, I want to outsell the Odyssey Twisted pedal because that's what I rode before. And
Right.
they're like pretty much the biggest pedals and biggest plastic pedals in the game, most popular. And I think it was the first order we outsold them
Wow.
in Europe,
There you go.
which is BSC's biggest market. So I was like, fuck yeah, you know? And then after that, it's just been going good. I think everyone loves them. People say that they're like the best pedals, I think. So
Oh, yeah.
Pretty
So,
stoked
so
on that.
you've always like, as long as I've known you, you've always been very interested in the whole marketing and like branding concept, I guess. Like, how do you see that going forward? Like with you as a pro BMX rider, I know you have like a separate Instagram account for your like Reed Stark ad. Mm-hmm. What like is this a big interest of yours? Is like wanting to like be involved with marketing and this sort of thing?
definitely, like just the plan after BMX, you know? Because you can't ride forever. You
Right.
got to have something to fall back on. And yeah, like I was in California. Last time I was in California, I was hanging out with you. I think it was the first trip when I stayed here for like 3 months or
Right,
3
yeah,
days
yeah,
of
yeah.
clothes, that shit. I was just around it all the time and like seeing business moves go down, and we were talking about them, like debating whether we should do this or this or this with OSS and whatever. And I was like, this is sick. Like, and it motivated me so much. Like I left, went back to Minnesota and immediately started an LLC. And I spoke to my professor and he invested some money for some of my ideas because I told him about all these things I wanted to do. And yeah, we're just making moves with that. It's like not I don't want to like rush it, you know, because
Right.
right now riding is definitely my focus because
Right.
I'm my body's good and everything. But in a few years, I'm definitely gonna start like working into things, and I've had a project going for like the last year.
Right.
I don't know if I don't think I'm gonna release it right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I have a company that I'm developing.
Interesting. Yeah. Do you think it's hard to balance like riding BMX, which is, it's weird because, yeah, like your riding for the day might be like you doing one trick on a rail, but it's hard for you to like fully invest yourself into something else while you're also like thinking of yourself as a pro rider, right?
Kind of. Like if I go on like a big trip like this, it's
Right.
so hard for me to like pull out my computer and
Yeah.
just sit there. But like if I'm at home or have any downtime or it's raining, then I can sit down and start thinking about things, make to-do lists, like shit like that, and start organizing everything.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It is really fun because if I ever get hurt or anything like that, like I have another outlet of creativity where I
Right.
can stay motivated and just be like, fuck yeah, like I can sit down at my parents' house or something in Minnesota for like a week straight, not even leave, and be on my computer researching shit or
Welcome
coming
to my
up with
life.
ideas.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
my friends will always say, like, you're the most comfortable person with like sitting on their computer that I've ever seen. Like when I get stuck in an airport for 8 hours, I'm like, I don't care at all. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm
It's
just
just
sitting on my
time to
computer.
work.
I got shit to do. Yeah.
Yeah, like long bus trips,
Yeah.
long plane rides. It's like, oh shit, now I can do this. Either I can like edit a video that I've been doing or something.
Right.
Like, I'm coming out with like a new like BMX focused thing, just like a YouTube channel. Just like,
Oh, really?
Just like Reed Stark Safari shit.
That's dope.
And I'm just gonna do like each city I go to. I've had like 3 videos edited, but I'm having problems with my phone, just editing them on my phone, and just gonna start like releasing sections like for each city I go to.
Really?
So with like tons of B-roll, it shows like what the culture's like,
Hell yeah.
and then riding clips of me and my friends and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start doing that. That's just like another BMX side with an outlet for creativity, and then yeah, like the whole Reed Stark ad thing and.
What is the Reed Stark ad Instagram account? That's just
Well, it's just like non-BMX shit.
Right.
Because I shoot all these photos and I never do anything with them.
Right.
Like I go on these trips and shoot the crazy shit. I never even show anyone or even like really look back.
Right.
So I'm like, fuck, like what am I doing? You know, like I might as well just post them so I can at least look back in the future and be like, oh man, like that shit was crazy. Because
Right.
photos really help me like remember where I was and what I was feeling that day, who I was with. You know, if I don't shoot a photo, there's a chance it could just vanish.
right. Yeah. So the whole social media revolution in BMX, how has this been in your eyes? Because I'm sure that you, in a way, I know you're a guy who respects DVDs. You respect like old school bike setup or magazines and everything like that. But then on the other hand, I see you as being like somewhat forward thinking in terms of branding and like marketing online and everything like that. Like, how has it been for you to see the BMX landscape change so much since you were younger?
It's weird, man. Like to be a pro nowadays, like
Is to be a social media star.
You have to be on social media. You have to be talking to kids. Otherwise, people will not know who you are.
Right.
Like Luke Legrand, for example, is one of the sickest dudes I've ever met. Like I love traveling with him. He doesn't have anything.
Right.
Not that it like affects his riding or his career at all. He doesn't really care.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, you ask someone who Luke Legrand is, some kid, they have no clue.
It would be hard for him to like really progress image-wise or like sponsor-wise and stuff, I would think, if you don't have that to go on, because like it used to be DVDs and magazines, and now it quite literally is Instagram and Facebook and shit like that.
Facts.
Is where it's going down. So if you're, you know, willing to say, hey, I'm not going to partake in that, fine, but it's tough to fucking promote yourself without that stuff.
People just won't know who you are.
Yeah.
Like nowadays, it's like everyone, if you're gonna like say you're gonna buy someone's product or you're gonna support someone at all, you need to know something about them. They can't just do a cool rail trick and you're
Right.
gonna be like, that's the dude. Like kids want to know who they are. They want interviews like this shit.
Right.
They want everything. They want to see what you're doing day to day. And if they don't, then you just kind of vanish.
Right. What's up with the BMX scene in general, in your opinion, though? Are you a fan of where it's at? Is it weak? Is it strong?
I think it's sick, man.
Right.
I think there's more and more kids getting into it. Like, I don't know, definitely a different riding style than I'm into for the
Right.
most part. I mean, I like watching people, you know, my homies doing crazy tech shit, but yeah, I don't know, it's changing. It's kind of becoming a little bit more like skateboarding,
Right.
which is cool. Skateboarding
It
kills it.
feels like we're in a weird place with the industry. Like, you're the kind of guy that I look at and I'm like, fuck, it sucks for somebody like Reed, because you're coming up, you're becoming one of like the top pro riders, but then because of like the industry being in a weird state or whatever, it's like it's hard to come by a shoe sponsor. It's hard to come by like part sponsors and everything. It's like the BSD thing obviously is dope, but do you ever feel like that? Like, fuck, like the industry's not doing that well, and I wish that I had maybe been born in a different fucking era. Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't really fucking matter.
You don't really think
if you're,
about it like
if I don't know. people are trying. If you're trying to make like $1 million off BMX,
Right.
you better stop riding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've never ridden for that. I really love BMX. Like I
Yeah.
love going to a new city and pedaling around, and I don't give a shit what happens.
Right.
It's amazing that I'm able to do these things because of it. You know, I'm able to travel and do exactly what I want to do because of BMX. It's like, it's a dream come true. Like
Yeah.
it really is. Like I don't know where I'd be without it. Like, it's crazy to think. Like I've been riding since I was 9, so I'm like, what?
Right.
Like,
I was hanging out with my
14 years in
friend
the
the other
game.
day, and I said something kind of like what I just said about like, damn, I feel bad for like certain kids that they're coming up and that the industry sucks or whatever, and they're just like, and my one homie who is like not trying to be a pro anymore or doesn't really ride anymore, he was like, yeah, but it always sucked. He's like, when I was fucking 18 trying to come up, like none of us had any fucking clue that we were like, none of us had it in our head that we were going to be able to make a living.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like even at that time, it never crossed my mind. I think that's me. It's like I'm 32, so I'm looking at it like, oh, I feel bad for some of these kids that the industry's not as good. But I don't think that young kids necessarily think about it like that.
Yeah, I mean, it does cycles too, just
Yeah.
like any industry. You know what I mean? Like the fly fishing industry is down right now,
Is
but
it?
it's gonna come back. Like my dad, he worked at he managed a fly fishing chemistry lab or some shit for a while at 3M.
Chemistry lab. What the fuck are they doing with chemistry?
Like, I don't know. It shouldn't really be chemistry, but they're like creating, I don't know, innovating products and coming up with crazy different fly lines and connectors of fly lines and shit like that. But it got to a point
I'm gonna
where
have to
it was
Google
like,
this. I need to learn about fly fishing now. You just got my interest
but
peaked.
It used to be way bigger, and
Right.
now it's like down a bit.
Yeah.
But you know, it's gonna come back.
But like
just like
sports
everything.
across the board are kind of down because the internet soaked up a lot of the people who would be playing sports.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's cool though. It won't die.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
rollerblading went through that thing, you know, where there's. Have you ever seen that
And they're
documentary
still a
where
feast.
it's like, yeah.
I love that documentary. I made a
where
girl watch it the
they're
other day.
so sad. They're
Yeah.
like people don't respect us. People think we're lame. We go to skate parks and people talk shit.
It's like,
and it's
I swear, we're still cool.
we're
still cool.
We're still cool. We still do shit. And like I have rollerblader homies, and it is dope. Like
Yeah.
if you're gonna be bummed out because people don't think what you're doing is cool, then
Yeah.
you just got a fucking wrong outlook on life. You just
You're
gotta
doing it wrong.
You gotta just do what you think is fun.
Right.
And if you like it, then like it and be about it. Don't fucking worry if people think it's cool. That's the lamest shit out.
Right. Oh, I'm fully with you. That
Yeah.
was great. Yeah, very inspirational. I want to talk about this BSD DVD because I know that you've been filming a video part for it for a couple years now, and I've seen you do some things for it that are truly absurd. When's this coming out, and how excited are you about this?
Pretty excited. It's the premiere is July 9th in Glasgow.
Wow,
And
okay.
then all the rest of it, I think there's going to be other premieres around the world for BMX Day.
okay.
July 23rd, I think that's when it is.
Something like that.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be in Japan, I think, for it.
I'm gonna be in Greece.
Hell yeah. Oh, you're going to the Athens one?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Say what's up to my boy Potter. All
Will
the
do.
BAF crew.
Okay.
BAF crew's sick.
Dylan Lloyd's gonna be out there,
Amazing.
and Ed Zunda, I think.
yeah. I wish I could make it over. Maybe if it's a cheap flight from Asia, I'll pop over or something.
Well, but is there a Street Series Jam in Asia?
No, but I'm having my own jam.
You should, yeah.
Yeah, I'm having my own jam, and then I'm gonna do like wherever I'm at the time, whether it's in Japan or something like that. I'm gonna have a jam and then premiere the video.
Hell yeah.
As well.
That'd be sick.
I think they're premiering at a few. Like there's one in Australia where it's premiering.
Like Donachie's doing one in Australia.
Yeah.
Lacey and them are doing it in Liverpool or something. Or there is one in Liverpool for sure. I was
Yeah.
either going to go to Athens or Liverpool.
Athens.
And I was like, I'll go to Athens because I don't want to fucking get addicted to ketamine and get beat up in Liverpool.
yeah, dude, everything's so expensive there. Well, actually, now it's not really that expensive now that UK's out of the EU, but
That is a good point. I keep forgetting about that.
yeah, Athens is fucking sick. It's one of my. Greece is pretty much the sickest place ever.
It
If you
is.
have time, go to the islands.
Really?
Like go to any island because it will blow your mind, man. It's like the Bahamas of Europe.
Okay, because I got a week there, so I'm
Yeah.
very excited. Because anytime that people are like, "Oh, it's the best place I ever been," because I always say that about Barcelona.
Yeah.
And that always gets me super excited. People say like Tel Aviv's one of the best places you'll ever go to, so it's kind of in my
Tel
mind.
Aviv's sick.
That was
yeah,
sick?
Yeah, but Greece is like, I think it's like you can get to some islands for like 20 euro or something like that, and then if you can island hop from there for like 2 euro for a ferry ride.
Hell yeah.
And if you just have like a bike and a backpack, you can mob, and there's like places to camp, cheap hostels, like.
People are gonna shoot you.
Nah,
no, that was
dude.
in France. Yeah.
Greece is chill. Don't. I guess Crete. There's like guns in Crete. That's like the biggest island in Greece.
Okay.
But other than Crete, like all the small islands, there's like thousands of them.
Right.
And you can just mob through those, and they're sick. Like the best beaches you've ever been to.
Really?
Yeah, I went to this one, Milos, and there were like 120 different beaches. 80 of them you could drive to. The other ones you had to like rock climb to get to.
Wow.
It was like a small island, like 45 minutes from one side to the other. There's like an all glass beach. Like the whole beach is made out of glass shards. And then there's like one that's like
But they're so small that they don't cut you when you walk on
yeah,
it?
yeah. If it's windy and you get one caught in your eye, you can get fucked up. You gotta go to the hospital.
Wow.
So it'll get lodged in your eye. So don't go if it's windy. But then there's like you go around the corner and there's a beach with like a volcano, not a volcano, but volcanic activity
Right.
underneath the beach, and it's like multicolored pebbles, like this big,
Really?
like colors of the rainbow, and the beach is hot. And you like dig in your feet and it's pure roast. And they have like a metal slab right there that they cook food on,
Right.
just from the heat from underneath.
Holy shit.
And then they have like perfect sand beaches. They have that one beach that jumped off the shit into the water, which looks
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
like on the moon.
Oh, the riding clip.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That one, so those are all on the same island.
Right.
It's like, I've never been anywhere like it.
Beaches are a big deal for you when traveling?
Oh yeah,
They're fantastic,
I
right?
love being near the ocean.
Why do I never go when I'm out here, though? That's what I don't understand.
If you live near it, you just don't care, do you?
I live like 9 miles away from it, and I go to it like as if it's like 3,000 miles away.
Yeah, exactly. See, being from Minnesota though, it's like we had a shitload of lakes, but we didn't have like beaches.
Right.
So it was always my dream, like, man, if you could just go and play in the waves, like it's nature's playground. Just
See, I
go
grew
there,
up-
you can work out, you can go swim, you can body surf.
I
do
grew
whatever
up
the hell
like
you
20,
want.
30 miles away from the beach, and I never went as a kid either.
There you go.
I'm a real
That's why.
killjoy. That's the whole problem here. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. What about college, though? That was probably like I still want to talk about the DVD. So you've been saving up crazy fucking shit for this video part for so long. Is this like, are you looking at this like, okay, this is my video part. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter if I never have another video part. This is it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I'd say I ate shit a lot for this video.
Right.
I like, even when I was in Europe recently, like one of the I didn't have one thing. Remember I was here like last time I was in Cali, I like had two things I wanted to do for the video, and I went out and tried one of them and dislocated my shoulder on the first try and ended up like getting it, but then I couldn't try the other thing. And
Right.
then I was on this Europe trip and like it was like deadline. Like we can't be filming anymore. And then I was in Amsterdam for 4 days. Found this spot. It's like a dream spot. Ended up finding a filmer one night at the bar, and we went out the next day.
At the bar, a BMX filmer?
Yeah. We went out the next day, and it took like 2 hours, and I got it done. And
Really?
it's in my part.
It's a rail clip that took 2 hours?
Yeah. And
Jesus.
it was crazy. I got nutted, cut my nutsack open. It was crazy.
Does that bother you not being able to find filmers when you're traveling?
Sometimes, if I find like a banger, like in Morocco,
Right.
JD, James Dean, he had a camera with him in Barcelona, like an HD camera, and then ended up sending it back with a homie back to Canada because he's like, oh, I'm not really using it. And then I met up with him the day after that, and we went to Morocco, and there were bangers.
Yeah.
And we were just looking at it, and I was like, dude, if you had your camera, because I'm filming for the Ed Needs video right now, like
Oh, okay.
chapters, just trying to
Nice.
get some clips. And yeah, I was just gutted. I was like, dude, we would be filming some shit here. but
Right.
Couldn't.
Does-
Just Instagram shit or like, the
Yeah,
Restart Safari video.
I was gonna say, in terms of like filming stuff for Instagram, though, to what percentage is that a concession? Like, to what percentage are you kind of like, fuck it, I'll do this rail for the gram?
If it's a banger and I think I'm gonna eat shit, there's just a level.
Then
I don't
it's
know,
hard to be to justify
Yeah,
it, yeah.
I look at a spot and I'm like, there's some spots where I'm like, I'm not doing this unless there's a photographer and a good filmer.
Right.
And then there's some spots where I'm like, I'll film this with a shitty filmer. And then there's some spots where I'm like, it's gonna scare me, but I really want to do it anyways, so
Right.
might as well just film it with the phone because I'm here and I'm never gonna come back here.
Right.
So might as well just get it while I can, as long as I don't think I'm gonna die on it.
Right.
Like deadly shit is definitely like, gotta film that proper.
I want to ask about 2 clips from your old BSD web video, Safari web video or whatever. The first one was when you did this gap to feeble to over on this huge sign at like a car dealership or something.
That was what was it? I think it was like in the streets of Arizona or something
Yeah,
like that.
like 2014
Yeah,
Restart
Restart
video,
in
yeah,
Arizona.
So what the fuck is with this gap to feeble to over? This is like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that one took a while, and I had like a sprained ankle for it, so it
Okay.
was pretty gnarly. Canode showed me that spot, and shout out to Canode for that.
And he thought that that's what you were going to do in it?
I don't know what he thought, but I was like, dude, that's the sickest rail. He's like, it's all metal. And I was like, that's the sickest thing ever. And we got there at night, and we were with Fudger, so we were like shooting for shit. And I was like, well, this is pretty much the perfect time. It was my last day in town, and yeah, I just ended up going for it. And it took a long time because I kept like grinding and then stopping on the thing and jumping over into these cactuses.
Right, because you had to
cacti.
do this hop over, and it's like when I'm watching it, I'm like, why is he doing a hop over going like 1 mile per hour at the end of it with a huge drop on the end? But you were saying that was like the only way that you could come off the end of it.
Yeah.
Because you had like half a crank or a quarter crank to get speed for this in the first place, right?
Yeah. I kept like, there were a few times it was like curved kind of the metal thing, and I got to the end, and I didn't have enough speed to like lift off and get my backpack
Yeah.
off of it, and I had to go over a wall on the left. So I was like, fuck, like the only way it's gonna work is if I pop over to the right.
Right.
And once I decided that, it was like 3 more goes, and then it worked out.
It's always weird when you're doing like an up rail and you start doing the hop over, and there's no reason. You're like, I guess that's cool, but it's actually easier than coming off the other side.
Yeah, right. Like roasting up, you need more speed than that. But
that was always a weird one. The other thing in there that was probably one of the most progressive rail tricks I've ever seen was when you did the ice over ice on this kink trail in Arizona. Had you ever done that trick on any other kink trails before? Or
no, I'd never even done an opposite ice pick before then.
Really?
No.
What made you realize that this was the spot and that you wanted to get this done?
I think Maloof sent it to me. Like, I was like sitting in class and he sent me a picture of the spot. And that was like when I was still in school. So I only got to ride like a month for winter break, a week for spring break, and then summer. And I was like trying to film this video, and BSC sent me out for the winter break and then the spring break as well.
So you never really lived in Arizona?
No.
Oh, you just go visit, okay.
Yeah, and then he sent me a photo of the spot, and I was like, fuck, like that would be sick to either do like 180 pegs, I was really into predators. I was like, it'd be sick to do like 180 pegs and then hop over fakie pegs down it. And I was like, damn, dude, but ice over ice, like that'd be beast, because I was icing kink trails at the time.
Right.
And I always just thought it'd be possible. And then we went there, and I don't know, it just worked out luckily.
and what it was, I heard you did it a bunch of times.
No, well, I like iced the rail like maybe like 10 times. I don't think I really ate shit too hard on it. But then like at the end, I was like, the one time I did like ice over ice, and I like dropped into pegs, I think, and was like, whoa, like that's it. There's a fucking bug on my speaker.
Yeah, there's definitely bugs around here right now. I don't know what the fuck is happening. I think it's the trash on the other side of this door over here.
Dude,
It's not ours. It's in the hotel.
Nate's gotta clean that up.
Dude, it makes me so fucking mad that there's bugs in here right now and that nobody cares.
It's all right, dude.
Yeah, I come in here at night. There's just bugs. Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, there's bugs, dude. Whatever.
Kill somebody
Just
soon,
little
yeah.
bugs. It's like they don't eat you up. But
It's downtown, man.
so yeah, I like did the ice, and then once I finally did the hop over, like the ice over, then it was like 3 more goes. I did like ice over ice and tapped feeble, and then I did ice over ice and like didn't really come off the kink right, and then the third one it just worked.
Amazing. Such a ridiculous clip.
I don't know. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, as long as we're going to be asking about specific tricks, let's talk about the 180 gap ice on the UCI kinker that was the ender of your TCU web video.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, you're kind of a 180 ice boss. How'd you learn that trick in the first place? Actually, let's just say that, because it was such a rare trick down rails for a long time.
Dude, I don't even know.
Nobody did it on rails for forever, and still it's very rare.
Yeah, I couldn't really tell you. I mean, I got into 180 grinds, and I was just like, dude, 180 ice would be sick, I think. And yeah, I can't really ever say that there was a specific time when
You
I was
remember
like,
when you first did it on a rail?
do it. It was fucking King Trail. I've always loved King Trails.
Oh.
Minnesota shit, you know. And I was in Scotland, and there was a rail, and I wanted to do 180 pegs down flat to fakie ice, like pull up fakie ice.
Right.
And I ended up like filming one there.
You did one, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
It was like in the Living for the City.
Right.
And yeah, it was like it started to rain, and I think I'd ate shit like maybe once or twice or something like that. And then it just worked out right as it was starting to rain, and I did it, and I was like, fuck, like that's possible. And then I was like, might as well just send right into 180 ice, because I'm pretty confident with like my back right peg.
Right.
I use it a lot. Love double pegs and feebles and shit.
See, I don't feel that way. When I was watching you do that, I'm just like, this is the scariest thing I've ever seen. He doesn't know what the fuck is going to happen. He's going to fall back going really fast.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing that can happen. It's scary as fuck.
Yeah, you can't miss.
I don't want to scare you or anything here.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You really can't miss.
Yeah.
You gotta be like on it. Like
Right.
you have to have a good riding day before. Then you gotta scare yourself once or twice, and then
Right.
it's like, all right, I feel dialed as fuck. Now it's time to send this.
Yeah.
And we drove out there, and I knew I wanted to do it.
Right.
And then we got there, and it was like sketchy run up, like you had to swerve,
Curb
which I
right
didn't
after
like,
it,
and then it was bigger than I thought it was gonna be,
Yeah.
which sucked. But then
But how do you feel after you get something like that? Is that like the greatest, most overwhelming sense of relief and just
dude.
euphoria? That's what you're fighting for every time you do a
Dude,
bang, right?
that's why I ride, dude. Getting bangs, it just gives you this feeling where it's like, dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like drugs. There's natural drugs. Like the high you get is insane. You know, like your blood's flowing, like you're just like, yes, like
Yeah.
that was it. And then you're done, and then it's like, and then you have like the craziest relaxation after that.
Yeah.
Like you're like juiced up for like 10 minutes, and that's just like,
You
now
don't
I'm
get that with
chilling.
drugs. You don't like get to do drugs and then just have that euphoria of like, oh, I just accomplished something.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
more like you're fucked up and then you just feel like shit. And it's
Yeah.
a weird combo.
Yeah, drugs are bad.
I'm sure you wouldn't know, but
No, definitely
I'm
not.
sure you've heard other people talk about it. How much of a disadvantage are you at when you're doing an ice pick trick like that with metal pegs in this day and age of so many people sliding?
Well, it is grinding, you know.
A type of grinding.
Yeah, you can definitely tell. Like, I remember back in the day, there was some video, like right when plastic pegs were going, and this dude did this like flat ledge that was so long, and he was just chilling in the ice.
Right.
And sometimes like what's it called when your tire touches the ledge?
Dry ice.
Yeah, dry ice. Like kind of like he was kind of doing that, and like that was his balance point. And with like ice picks with metals, you got to be fucking wrenched up, and you're like really getting it like that,
There's a higher balance point in general.
Yeah, definitely. Like your tires up higher. I think it looks better personally.
Oh,
but some people with
higher is
plastics,
always better.
Some people with plastics can do it good.
Right. But plastic pegs sort of help bring in the era of the dry ice, of the incredibly low front wheel.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Before that, you just drop right down into pegs, and like with ice pick grinds, like you have to find the right spot. Like it can't be a shitty ledge, and if it is, you really got to wrench it.
Right.
And then it's just got to be a dialed steel rail.
Yeah.
Wax that thing up, and then I don't know. But yeah, like the length of them.
Right.
That was something where I was like, fuck, when people started riding plastics, I was like, dude, like, because doing the longest ice pick grind ever was always something that I was like, that's sick shit.
Right.
But then when people started riding plastics, it was like, that's gone.
It's like doing a manual.
Yeah. People in like ice hards and shit, like ice hards with plastic, you just pop it around.
It's a lot different.
Yeah, but ice hards with metals, you gotta really give her.
Do you regard
like,
it as cheating, or is it just kind of different?
It's not cheating. It's just different, yeah. But for me, I love the feeling of metals. I love grinding and making the sound, and peg chinks are dope. They're louder.
It's true.
Yeah, I don't know. For a while, I was like not too stoked on plastics, but now I see it a little bit differently.
Team Metal Pegs.
Team Metal Pegs. I'm like
Shout out
1 of
Team Metal
4.
Pegs.
It's like me, Simone,
Nigel
Derives Metal.
Yeah.
Huh.
He'll never stop.
He's on TMP.
Shout out TMD.
Yeah, TMP, dude. And then I think LaShawn.
Oh, yeah.
And shit, man. Yeah, there's a few other ones, but no one really.
Yeah.
Like I was at the Vans contest, I was the only one. I like every day I had to go out and wax every single rail. I was like dripping sweat the day of the contest just from waxing.
Right.
But I don't know.
I remember in either Left, Right, or Insight, there was a Kurt Rasmussen does like this long ass ice pick on a flat ledge under a bridge, and he's got a plastic peg on, even though it's all the way back then. Like they had put PVC over it or something.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Navaz said that it was plastic. It's really weird for me to look back at it because I thought it was so crazy then because I didn't know that it was a plastic, and also I had no frame of reference for what a plastic peg might feel like. But I believe that was like the first. Well, and I also would hear about people rocking like PVC over their pegs to do like aluminum rails way back in the day too.
Mm-hmm.
Like really old school guys. I don't know.
That's cool. If you can ride spots that you couldn't normally ride,
Right.
like in like all the tech shit on ledges, like you can do it with metals, but it's really fucking hard. Like you have to be perfectly balanced on it, and if you're not, then you're gonna just stick. Like backwards grinds, you're gonna flip back.
What about
like
free
that.
coasters? What are your thoughts on those?
Free coasters, I don't know. They're cool. They're
Yeah.
cool. Different type of riding.
But you just don't really care for it?
No, I love cassette.
Right.
And I love like short run up shit.
Yeah.
Like doing like a rail where you can only go like click and then
Yeah.
you gotta hop on. Like to me that's just I don't know, it's interesting.
When
It
I
adds
think
to
about
it.
your riding, I can definitely understand the appeal of the cassette because like you just are always like cranking out of something where you have no fucking speed. It's tight.
Yeah. I don't know. I like short run up shit. And
Yeah.
You can't really do that. And then like I don't know, like fuck, my buddy Bink, he like was riding the skate park and it was I think it was like a year ago or something like that, and I was thinking about getting a free coaster a while back.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone started getting them, and I was like, I don't know, like I still like the cassette. And then he was like pedaling at this bank, and his coaster didn't engage, and he went OTB and like shattered his elbow.
Really?
And after that, I was like, dude, how can you ride something that's so unpredictable? And people with free coasters, their wheels always getting fucked up. Like cassette's dialed, I can bang on my back wheel and it's gonna be fine.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know, durability, long lasting.
Well, it's very durable. Yeah, that's a fact.
Can't have my bike fucking up if I'm in the middle of Africa, you know, like.
That is a good point too. Yeah, you kind of got to bring a whole nother wheel with you if you want to be safe. Couple more things I want to talk about. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the influence that like when I look at you, I just interviewed Jaws, and I was just thinking, I'm like, man, these guys remind me of each other. You look at a lot of skate videos, and like him in particular, that to inspire you for BMX stuff.
Yeah, I watch all that shit.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like, I love Jaws' shit, and he's on RAR, you know, same
Yeah,
shit as
yeah.
me, so it's cool to see someone. He, like, cranberry thing, loves cranberry juice.
Right.
Probably makes him be able to take all those big falls.
Yeah. You think that has something to do with it?
Probably.
Yeah.
Good diet. I mean, I think his parents are, I think it's pomegranates. It's
Right.
pomegranates.
Okay.
I think they're pomegranate farmers or something. And
Really?
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think he said at one point that pomegranates are the reason that he can take all this shit.
Really?
So I don't know. I always focus on trying to have like a good diet and shit.
I want to believe that.
Yeah, but
What's up with RAR?
RAR is sick.
Tell
It's
us
like-
a little bit about RAR.
It's a superfood supplement.
Right.
Like Joey Mata is a rider from Arizona, one of my best friends, and then his brother is John Mata, who's like a
Right.
pro skater, and they both run it. And I don't know, meeting them and like meeting Joey and everything he told me changed my whole life. Like I had changed what I was eating, started drinking different water, like all this shit. and then he ended up like hooking me up with raw, which is, it's just like a superfood supplement. You add to like water or smoothies, things like that, and it's like 40 different, like it's like plant dust essentially,
Right?
Like berry dust, plant dust, shit like that, and it's just like things you don't normally get. Or if you're like on the road and like sometimes you gotta like eat somewhere shitty, then you can still get your nutrients.
Right.
And ever since it was the first thing that I consumed that I felt like it changed my attitude and it changed how I felt. Like I started feeling a lot better. My system was working better.
Right.
And I was just like, this is sick. Like, how can I go back? You know what I mean? You can't be eating McDonald's, can't be eating garbage like that. Like, might as well just eat good.
But you're not vegan or anything, right?
No.
But how do you manage? Because obviously there's constantly like a give and take when you're traveling, where it's like you can't always be eating the stuff that you want. How do you try to approach that when you're on the road?
I don't know.
Just
Sometimes,
make the best you can?
Yeah, do the best that you can. You can't always, if you're in the middle of nowhere and you're starving and all you have is like a Burger King or McDonald's or some shit. It's
You're
like,
eating Burger King, yep.
Dude, I'm sitting there and I'm like, it's like a moral dilemma.
Yeah.
You're like, do I even do it? And every time I do it, I'm like, I should have starved myself. But usually you can find fruit.
Happens to me all the time at 4 o'clock in the morning when I'm like, dude, it's just 7-Eleven. It's just 7-Eleven.
Right.
That's all there is.
7-Eleven's that shit. Like you get bananas or
Yeah.
maybe an orange, but
You're
other
walking
than
around the 7-Eleven looking at the granola bars, like, none of these look good either. Like I ate everything in here already, like
exactly. But yeah, every time like realizing that eating bad food makes me feel shitty.
Right.
It's like I can't be doing that anymore.
Right. Do you bring the raw with you on the road?
Yeah, definitely. Raw, and then they make krill pills and then honey. The honey's pretty heavy to bring around, so I haven't really done that, but I bring like a couple cans of raw and then the krill.
I said it to Jaws, but I'm gonna hit up Mata and be like, "Yo, let me get this raw shit," because I'm really actually trying to give it a go.
It's bomb.
Yeah.
It changed my whole life, man. I pretty much take it every single day.
Really?
Recently, it sucked though, man. We like flew to after Morocco, flew to Berlin, and I was getting a new bike because I gave away my bike in Morocco, just because they don't get shit there. And I was like, I was getting a new bike anyways, and I was like, might as well give it to these kids. So I gave it away at this jam. But yeah, I was like waiting for my bike, and then JD used my bike bag, which I had my raw in it and some other shit, and it ended up like it got lost in the airport. Apparently, I'm pretty sure they just thought that we were smuggling tons of hash because when we got
going through it and shit.
We got the bag and it was literally raw everywhere. Like my bag reeks of raw.
Really?
Like the bike bag reeks of raw. It's pretty nasty. Like I'm pretty sure they just like opened it. We're like, what the fuck's this? And just dumped it all over. And I was like, no, man. Like I felt pretty bad. Like his grips were fucked. I had to give him some new grips.
Isn't the craziest thing ever that we just take all our shit and just give it to the airline employees, and then half the time they do something to it, and then you just got to accept it?
Mostly in America, but yeah, I think flying out of Morocco, because Morocco's like, I'm pretty sure it's like the hash capital of Europe. Like everyone in Europe gets all that shit from there. So yeah, I think that they're like anything coming from there that looks a little bit sketchy, they're gonna be like, eh.
They stole Nate Richter's headset the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
I hate that.
Fucking scumbags.
Yeah.
He had to rock like 2 headsets on this whole road trip. Felt bad for him.
Shit, man.
How would you? You spent a lot of time in the Alex Donachie / Chris Kyle matrix. How would you describe these two little goobers and their relationship with each other, the effect that it has on the BSD team? Try to make sense of this for me.
Oh, dude, I don't know. They're sick. They're sick as hell. Like, first time I went to Scotland, I was, like, living with Chris Kyle at Unit 23 for, like, 6 weeks. So
How'd you like being there for 6 weeks? Were you having a good time around the park every day?
Yeah, it was sick. Like, there was time, like, I was younger. I think I was, like, 17. So,
oh, you're still around.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we didn't go outside for, like, a week. Like, because they have, like, a full kitchen in there.
Right.
It's, like, the best skate park ever. There's, like, 2 full skate parks. So we were just riding every single day. And, like,
as long as you're talking about being healthy, you need that sun.
Yeah, right.
Gotta get some sun.
Exactly. That's why I don't know, Scotland's rough for that. It's just raining all the time.
That's true.
See, it's raining as
yeah.
well. So it's like, okay, it's raining outside. Well, we could just stay here and eat and then ride. And it's like, let's do that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. So I was like really good friends with Chris since I was young. And then Alex got on the team a little bit after and started traveling with him. And he's just hilarious, man. I love hanging out with him.
His like one word a day that he says is hilarious.
Yeah. No, he speaks up a little bit more with me.
Yeah.
We've gone on a lot of trips together, so we chat a lot. But
he does. He like once you get into a good conversation with Alex, it's like he is hilarious.
Dude,
but the other
pants.
80% of the time, sometimes you're almost kind of like, man, like I wish he would talk so I could like feel more assured that he doesn't hate me.
Yeah,
like,
I know. They call it in Scotland, it's like bants, like banter.
Yeah.
And everyone in Scotland pretty much just talks shit.
Right.
And yeah, they're a product of that, so
Right.
they're hilarious. Like
Yeah.
whenever I go over there, it's like, dude, you're stepping into the kitchen. You gotta
Yeah.
fucking be ready for it and be able to like return it. Otherwise, you're just gonna get destroyed.
Right.
Just kind of like the first time I went there, I like wasn't really used to it, and I was like, do all these guys fucking hate me? And I was like, well, they might hate me, but at least they're still talking to me, so maybe they don't hate me too much. And now I realize it's just the way it is there. Like,
whenever I interview anyone from England, somebody will comment and be like, "Oh, they were taking the piss out of Adam, and he doesn't even fucking know." And I'm just like, "Oh, they're probably right. I'm not gonna go watch the whole thing to make sure, but you're probably right."
It happens, man. It happens to the best of us, but it's funny. You get used to it after a while.
Yeah, get used to being torn apart by these bastards. Yeah,
It's hilarious though. They're very witty.
well, they're on their own now. They're out of the union, so fuck them.
Yeah, right.
They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, who knows? Hopefully they get back in. But
fuck. What else should we talk about? Anything else that comes to mind? Like you're about to go on this big road trip. Japan is about to get eaten alive.
I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for me, but fuck.
It's dope to get this perspective on you because the last time I got you on the podcast was with Sean McIntosh, and he was a whole bunch of personality at that moment. He was on another fucking planet.
Yeah, no, Mac's the man, dude. I love Mac. It was funny just letting him go, but
yeah,
no, it was good chatting, just a one-on-one piece.
No, it's been dope. How come you never get any pussy? What's that about? You stay with us for mad long. You're tall, good-looking guy. I know you have a charming personality, but it seems like you just don't. Even if a girl seems into you, you're just like, nah. You put your dick on a pedestal. You're like, I'm not having it.
Dude, I don't like just giving it out, dude.
Just give it out, man.
Nah, dude, I don't like giving it out. Girls just, I don't know.
Hey.
Girls are dope, and I like some girls. Some girls are really dope,
right.
But I gotta find like a girl that I like actually like. Like I like her personality and shit.
Right.
Like if a girl annoys me, like a lot of girls really do annoy me. Like, I just look at them and I'm like, you don't have any hobbies, very uninteresting, and you're talking about fucking shopping or something like that. And I just hate that shit, and I can't like get over it in my head. Like really like cliche, the California way. Like girls out here, they're so fucking, I don't know. Well, their morals are different than mine.
Well, you saying that makes me just think about how it would be very hard for me to like be able to do the flirtation thing if I wasn't willing to like stoop down a little bit in terms of like not necessarily saying the insane things that are going on in my head of like weird things to talk about. Girls don't necessarily relate to like my weird Twitter-based sense of humor.
Yeah, and like, dude, just shit chat. You know what I mean? Like, they can't, like, I don't know, if you're just talking to a girl and they're just, like, kind of like you're talking to a wall, and it's like, all right, well, I could really try and, like, pick up this girl or whatever, but do I really care? And it's like, I don't really care. I'd rather just meet someone dope. Like, there's definitely a few girls that I really like.
You've been in a real relationship, though?
Yeah,
really?
Few.
Okay.
I dated a girl in Minnesota, a few girls in Minnesota for, like, I think it was, like, 6 months. That was the longest one I've had.
Has Lil Yachty completely changed what it's like to be from Minnesota?
Dude, that's the best.
Yeah, it's good now. Okay,
cold like
a
Minnesota.
lot more people know.
Yeah, people. It's on the map. You know what I mean? I'm stoked about it.
If it had been cold like New Hampshire, I'd probably move back.
That's what I'm saying. I can't wait to go back and hear that shit in the club. Like I haven't even experienced it.
They're probably banging it down there.
I hope so, man. I hope they caught him. Right when I think you told me about him. You're like, oh, dude, this Lil Yachty dude, blah blah blah. And I started looking up him, and then I went back to Minnesota and was telling everyone there. I was like, dude, this guy's he's goofy, but he's going to blow up. Yeah. Just wait.
And he's then bringing us with him, even though he probably has never even been here.
Yeah, and then right after that, it was like people were like texting me, and they're like, yo, you were right. Like Lil Yachty's like on this and this and featured on this track. And I was like, hell yeah. Like,
what about the Minnesota like hip hop scene, though? I should ask about that. It's like a weirdly good scene out there, right?
Yeah, it's sick. Like Rhyme Sayers, Atmosphere, all them.
Yeah.
They like started it all. Mod's son, I think. He was on here recently, right?
Yeah. Spooky Black.
Yeah, that's like the new generation.
That was like what blew the cap off for you and Maloof and a lot of these guys. Like you guys were fucking lost your minds over Spooky when he came out.
I mean, he's sick, man. Him and Bobby Raps, like Bobby Raps' mom is my college roommate's like 3rd grade math teacher.
Wow.
So he's like my homie Tomas like knows Bobby Raps pretty well just from like back in the day. Oh, yeah. And then like I like accidentally ended up at one of his shows at my school in my senior year, and I like went and talked to him because they were playing Xavier. Oh. And I was like sitting at the bar and I was like started rapping and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like they're playing Xavier Wolf here? And I went up and I was just like, dude, I'm like homies with this dude. Like, how do you know him? And he was just like, oh, I'm Bobby, blah, 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 blah. And that was like...
That's how you met him?
Yeah, that was like before he was even popping. And then like since then, he's just really blew up. And it's sick. Like, anytime in Minnesota, if I can go to one of their shows, like, it's like Spooky Black. He don't really get out too much. I've seen him live like once, and he only did like one song.
What's your take on him? Like, you think that he's going to like make a full-fledged like comeback, or is he going to continue to give us like a couple songs a year at most? Or
yeah, I don't know. He's just chilling, man. I don't think I've ever even met him in person, but... Well, I mean, I've seen him, but I've never actually talked to him. But he's like, dude, at the show I went to, he like creeped out from the back. It was like a DJ set, And then for the last song, it was like a song that the DJ produced for Spooky.
Right.
And then he like creeped out and like stood behind the DJ singing it. So I think he's just like a really big introvert. Like he'd like rather chill inside, and he don't give a fuck about fame.
Yeah.
You know, he's not like trying to floss. He doesn't really care about being seen. Like I heard one of my buddies in Minnesota saw him eating with his mom at a restaurant in Minnesota, and some kid like went up to him and was like, "Yo, like my son's like," or the mom did, and he was like, "My son's a really big fan. Is there any way that you could shoot a photo of him?" And he's just like, "No."
Said no.
Yeah, he's just like, no. Like I don't think he likes that at all. Like, because remember, he just like blew up from.
No
it was
idea
like
was
Without You. Without You, like the music video got posted on World Star. That's when I found out about him. I was like, holy shit, this dude's sick.
Right.
But he was wearing like the do-rag, and people were kind of talking shit, but they're like, you can't really talk shit because he's brilliant.
Yeah.
And then he dropped something after that, which is amazing. One of my favorite albums, really. And then, yeah.
Black Silk you're talking about?
Yeah.
All right.
I've listened to that.
Did you just forget the name for a second
Yeah,
when you were saying that?
Yeah, I was just like,
I was confused too, because I'm like, he's got to be talking about Black Silk.
Yeah. So I was like, listening to that album tons, and then like Bobby Raps and him did an album, which was sick. And yeah, I don't know. I really fuck with their music. Like anytime I'm in Minnesota, I try my hardest to get out to a show.
Right.
Because they're always super fun, and it's like the only thing that we get in Minnesota that's similar to like a Bones Xavier show.
Right.
Like
Bobby's sick though. I was DMing him during South by Southwest about, and I tried to tell him about you and stuff, and I don't know if he necessarily comprehended what I was saying, but I was like, all my BMX homies out there are crazy about this shit.
Yeah.
Fuck Bobby Raps though. Are you familiar with Matty B Raps?
No.
Oh, you're not?
Who's Matty B Rap?
Should probably go Google it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
After this?
Fantastic human being.
All right, I'll look it up.
Shit. What else should we know? Oh, what about the username You Scared Stiff? Where the fuck did that come from?
Oh, fuck, man. I don't know. It's kind of like, it was just like a hectic night in Milwaukee. I was with Maloof. I think Maloof actually came up with it.
Shout out to Maloof.
But it was initially like a Twitter name. And my Twitter was some shit before that, maybe like Reedle McTweedle or some stupid shit.
Right.
And we were twisted on something, and he was like, dude, I'm gonna change your Twitter name, blah blah blah, like all this shit. I was like, dude, I don't care. Like, what are you gonna pick? He's like, I don't know, like You Scared Stiff. And we were saying that shit like, this motherfucker's scared stiff, like shit like that.
Yeah.
And then he just changed it, and after that I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna keep it. And then I made the Insta that, and then I've just been riding with that ever since, and no reason to really change it.
I like it.
Yeah, all right, that's cool.
It's dramatic branding, it's like, but you know what I noticed is all the porn star girls, they'll have like kind of their regular name on Twitter, but then they'll have like a really weird Instagram name because they get their Instagram deleted mad times.
Really?
I didn't realize until recently that's why they do this, is because they get their Instagram deleted. They have to make a bunch of names.
Twitter lets anything fly, huh?
Yeah, and I think just people have had Twitter longer, so it's easier to get your real name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. Initially, when I started riding, like, being pro, I was like, I don't want anyone to know. Like, my first, 3 years of college, I, wouldn't tell anyone.
Really?
Yeah, I, didn't. People were like, oh, you could say this and get so much pussy and blah, 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 and all this shit. You could be so cool. And I was like, dude, fuck that. Like, I don't want anyone to know anything about me when I meet them.
Right.
I would rather just, meet them and chat with them, and they'd be like, okay, this is just a human. It's not, just, putting you on a pedestal. Because people, do that. You meet someone, and they're like, some girl, when people started finding out in, junior, senior year, then I go to parties, and girls would introduce you, like, this is my pro BMX friend, Reed. And I would just look at them, and I'd be like, I told you not to say that shit. Why are you doing this? And then they're just like, oh, and then people are so fake with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? They just try and, either they think you're cool right away for bullshit reasons or something like that. I would rather just have it be real. And then later on, if they find out, that's fine. But so yeah, I made it You Scared Stiff, so people wouldn't really. I was like, I don't give a fuck about having my name there. I don't want people to know it's me. I'm just gonna post crazy shit. And
that's so weird that you say that though, because I feel like that kind of situation would maybe I wouldn't really care. All right, yeah, if I was a pro rider or whatever, say I'm a pro rider. But as I get more established in terms of what I do now, when I meet somebody, it's such a relief when they don't know what I do, because when they do know, it's there's so much to talk about and so many weird things for them to ask me about that it is a fucking big relief if I meet a girl in a bar and she doesn't know for the first couple hours at least that I do something weird on the internet.
Yeah, it's the best, dude. Because then it's a real relationship.
Yeah.
It's not based on a bunch of bullshit. How many fucking Instagram followers you have. That is the least important thing.
Right.
So many people are like, oh, I got this many, blah, blah. And then once they figure it out, they're like, oh, you have this many followers. Like, that's what girls would say at parties. They'd be like, he's got this many followers, like 2,000 followers and shit like that. Back then, you know? And, like, it was just like, I was like, man, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. That's what you care about? Like, I am a human. Talk to me as a human.
I haven't had to do the, like, middle of America, oh, my God, he's got a bunch of Instagram followers conversation in a while, because in LA, I feel like nobody wants to acknowledge if you're popping. Because there's a lot of, you know,
everyone here is
there's
popping
an actor on the
right?
other side of the bar, or like, you know, something.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter as much here, but yeah, if you're like there, then people are like
Right.
now when I go back, like obviously everyone knows now, like kids I graduated high school with, and like if I see them at the bar, like it's just like, wow, like it's fun, you know what I mean? But they're like, it's a different conversation than it would be if they didn't know.
Because
like, I'll be like, sick to see you, you know, like what have you been up to? And right away for them, it's like, yo, you're traveling the world. How's that going?
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I kind of just wish we'd just talk normal.
Because then you're sort of like representing like a fake version of yourself, because they have all
Precisely.
these ideas in their head of like what they want you to live up to and stuff.
Yeah.
They have this idea in their head of what it would be like if they travel the world. They want you to kind of fill in the blanks for them. And that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's pretty weird. You get used to it after a while.
Yeah.
Like now I've kind of like not accepted it, but it's like the more people that know, like a lot of my friends from home know, so it's just like I don't know, it's not that big of a deal. Obviously the close friends always knew that I rode and shit, but no one really knew I was sponsored. And then
It must be weird for you too, because it's like if some girl finds out, they're like, oh, you sit there and have conversations with people, it doesn't sound that crazy. But if they watch a 3-minute video part of you, they're like, oh, okay, you're a fucking nut. Like there's something really wrong with you in the head, and I'm going to try to figure out why you're doing all these crazy things to your body.
yeah, I don't know. See, yeah, the conversation changes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Conversation changes. I don't want it to be there. They're just taking it there. There's no way they can get around that.
Yeah.
They're like, that's their only focus. And then, like, God, the worst thing, like, imagine you meet a girl and she's like, oh, I want to fuck someone famous or something like that. And then it's just the most bullshit thing in the world, isn't it? Like, the whole relationship is based on bullshit.
Yeah.
Because they're just trying to do something for some reason. Who fucking knows why? But I hate it.
Yeah.
So if like if I meet a human in the world and they don't know shit about me and we have a genuine conversation and it's like, yeah, like exchange numbers or something like that, that means so much more to me than someone who just comes up to me and it's like, oh shit, I know that you're cool on the internet.
Right.
You know?
So that's all that matters. My own opinion doesn't matter, but the fact that a bunch of other people seem to think you're cool, yeah, you get that all the time.
Yeah.
That is a weird one.
Hate that.
Just where you sort of realize that, like, oh, like they needed those numbers to make their own evaluation of you. That's weird that you are a fucking dumbass. Yeah, because I meet people all the time who are famous and I hate them. I'm just like, you're the shittiest person I ever met. I don't know the fuck how many followers you have.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're there. You know what I mean? You
An
can make that
asshole,
decision.
yeah.
If it was anyone else, if you were just like some, you know, just someone who wasn't like doing crazy
Yeah.
shit where you'd have a bunch of followers, then you'd probably be like,
Well, it's good though
You
that
know,
you
like-
get to see like both sides of it, because then if you're 35 and you're like, I'm gonna fucking settle down, get a house, have a nice normal life, then at least you saw like the traveling. Like so many people live their whole lives just wondering what it would be like to travel.
they need to get out there and buy a backpack.
Yeah.
Buy yourself a backpack. Buy yourself a hammock. Get a jalaba. I'm gonna start making these.
Right.
I decided like yesterday. I was like, because a bunch of kids hit me up after the contest and they're like, "What is that thing you're wearing?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm gonna make these for the company.
Yeah.
The company I'm not gonna talk about. I'm gonna
Oh,
make them.
okay,
So
there you
maybe
go.
that'll be maybe the intro.
Right.
I'll drop some of those.
But I hung out with a girl the other day and she was just like, oh, like I mentioned somewhere that I traveled. She was like, well, what was it like? I'm like, it was all right. It wasn't that great. She's like, how could you say that? I'm like, I mean, I went there and it wasn't that. It was cool, but it wasn't like my favorite place I ever been. And then I kind of realized that in her head, like traveling was this thing that one day she was gonna get the time to do, and she hadn't done it yet, but she wanted to so bad. And for me to have this like kind of jaded perspective on it was just blew her fucking mind.
Yeah. I mean,
it's weird. Yeah.
people. Well, it just comes down to like people want security. They want to be comfortable. You know, like it's very hard for a lot of people to just send it.
But then they also want that fantasy of like, yeah, I'm a traveling person. I'm gonna travel. I have that wanderlust, baby. You see wanderlust in her Instagram bio. You're like,
Yeah.
what's that mean?
Ooh, no, I don't know. It's cool.
Because
Like,
she might be for real, but she might just be talking about Vegas.
yeah,
You
that's
know.
real. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, these hoes ain't shit. These American hoes ain't shit. You gotta stay in Europe.
Dude, for real. For real.
They're
yo,
a lot
for-
different out there, right?
For the first time, like, after this trip, I was like, man, I need to figure out a visa and dip.
Right.
Like, I can stay in America, and America's sick. Like, I love Cali, I love Minnesota, and I can always come back here. But, like, for now, man, like, the laws in other countries and just the culture and everything you can do to me is so much, you have so much more freedom. And I don't know, just living. You can just live and do whatever. And people aren't so focused on money here.
Right.
Like, that's the thing. Like, people don't travel because they want to have money. And they're like, oh, I need 10K to go on a trip. It's like, no, you don't.
Right.
You need a little bit of money. You need to preserve that money.
Yeah.
And not buy a $100 hotel everywhere you go and not have that, not be comfortable. You need to be uncomfortable. Sleep at a hostel.
Right.
Find the cheapest shit you can and figure that out. And then you can make your money last. But people want this life. They want to have a car and they want to have a house with a fence and they want to buy a fucking boat.
And they want to not have a job. They don't want to have to, or you know, you got to pick and choose. Like, you could work 80 hours a week and have a shitload of money, but you're going to fucking hate your life.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, I'm just building up for the future. Like, oh, so you're going to make all this money in your life, get to age 60, and then you want to live?
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to live then? Right now you have all this energy, and you can go on all these crazy trips and meet the craziest people that will change your whole entire life.
Plot twist, when you're 60, you're going to want to stay home.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're older, then you have all this money, and you're like, I made it. And then it's like, well, what do I do now? And they're like, I just gotta want to chill, watch TV, maybe, you know,
Well,
play some golf.
Matlock is coming on later, but that's the fucked up part about it. It's just the fact that as you get older, you hit 35, you hit 40, all of a sudden status matters more. Having things, having a house, having a family starts to matter more. So all those years, like, I know so many people that are in their mid or late 30s or whatever who had these dreams of shit they wanted to do, and they never even got close because they were never willing to sacrifice.
But that's an American perspective. Like, what is it? Keeping up with the Jeffersons.
Yeah.
Like, you see your neighbor who has a nice car, and you're like, damn, I want that nice car. So then you work your whole life away to try and get that nice car. And then you get the nice car, and then you're like, well, now I got to buy some other shit.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just, like, dude, in other countries, like, people have nothing, and they're so happy.
Right.
They have nothing. Either they have a farm and run it, or they trade with their neighbors. They do whatever they can with no money, and they are way happier than people here. Like, people I graduated college with who have 9-to-5 jobs that are like, I fucking hate it. Yeah. And I'm like, well, why don't you, like, do something, build up a little bit of money for something, and then dip. Yeah. You know, go travel with that money. But they're still just, I don't know, they're held by their possessions.
Frozen,
they're in jail. They're jailed by their fucking possessions. They they need them and they want them and they need security, and I don't know, it's fine. It's not bad.
It's a way of life. I mean, it happens.
It's just decisions, but it's like, if anyone's ever gonna say that they're jealous of me or something, I mean, obviously
you made your life the way it is.
Yeah, super grateful for the BMX thing. That's insane that I can like get money periodically and shit like that and do these things. But I know people who don't get paid by sponsors, and they do the same shit that I do.
Right.
Tons of people.
Tons of BMXers.
Yeah, so many. Well, BMXers, even random people who have a guitar. Like, I met this dude in Britain or in Morocco who he just had a guitar and he was just mobbing.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just got my guitar and sometimes I play on the street and I make a little bit of money and I can eat with it and stay at a cheap hostel and do whatever you want. And he loves his life. And it's like, dude, so you can do whatever you want to do. Yeah. It's just people choose that they want nice things.
Right.
And I'm probably not going to have nice things unless things work out really well with like the ad agency shit.
But you can flip the switch tomorrow and go get a fucking 9-to-5 and be sitting in a nice apartment and chilling and you know.
Yeah, I could shave the head and just vanish.
Shave
the head, delete the Instagram account, and then I'm gone, right in the dust. I'm planning on doing that someday.
Wow.
Then no one will know shit about me.
I want to be having those conversations. Remember Reed? I wonder if he's still alive.
Yeah, dude, I'll just be gone, dude. I'll be doing my own thing. No one will know shit. It'll be amazing.
That's perfect. Hey, who do you want to thank? You got any thanks before we wrap this up?
Heaps of people. Obviously, my parents are amazing. My brother, fucking all my homies. You know who you are. BSD for giving me this life, because really they're the only one who supports me right now. I mean, other sponsors support me, but BSD is putting in. You know what I mean? Etnies sending me shoes. If I didn't have free shoes all the time, I don't think I'd be able to fucking ride or do anything. Like, I've been helped out in the middle of some foreign country, and they'll get a package to me when I don't have shoes that I can ride in.
Wow,
shit like
awesome.
that. And
shout out Pova.
Yeah, Pova's a sick guy. Raw Superfoods, same thing, keeping me full of nutrients.
Hell yeah.
Albies BMX helps me out. Fuck, I'm forgetting people. What am I doing, dude?
All the homies. I don't know.
All the homies. The Gully Factory, Maloof's always giving me a place to stay. Anyone who gives me a place to stay in a foreign country. Some stranger I meet at a skate park who's like, oh shit, you ride bikes? Like, I ride bikes too. And they're like, yeah, you can sleep on my floor. And I'm like, fucking right, you know? Shit like that, you know? Fuck.
That's sick.
Dude, I'm forgetting a sponsor, aren't I?
Are you? Take a look at that Instagram bio. This is what it's good for, is to remind you.
I don't even have my sponsors in my Instagram bio.
Ooh, that's a flex. You and Nigel?
Nah, I don't want to sell it.
I respect that perspective.
You don't need to sell it. You know, you can just be you. And
very rare.
If people support you and you support them on your Instagram periodically, it's better than just like telling people that you're getting shit here or there.
Yeah. Well, it's weird when you see a kid where that's clearly like it's in their bio because they have absolutely nothing to say about themselves. Like, my name is Brian and I ride for this company. And it's just like, oh, that's the only interesting thing you have going for you is just what company gives you a free T-shirt or whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like I used
always
to,
feel weird
I
about
did it
that.
for a while, but then I realized it's like, dude, I mean, fuck, like branded entertainment shit, things like that. Like people don't want to know that you're like advertising to them or something like that. Like if someone supports you, you gotta support them periodically, like in posts, but you don't gotta tell people like, oh, they're giving me free shit, that's why I support them. Like I'm only sponsored by companies that I really believe in,
Right?
And I don't think they need that. They don't want that from me. Maybe they do, but I don't know. Then they probably would stop supporting me.
You probably want a sponsor who doesn't care about you being so explicit. You know, like I like it. I think it looks, and I'm basically saying this about like every person I know, but I do think it's kind of cooler when you see the products featured in the Instagram post, but it's not completely like the Instagram post or feed is branded by.
Yeah. People don't like being sold to. I'm not trying to sell to anyone. I'm trying to let people know about the shit that I like and the companies that I think that people should buy shit from because they're either dope people run them, they got a good program going on, whatever it may be. But it's not like you're just trying to feed people advertisements and market to them all the time.
Right.
It's just like if people fuck with me and I'm doing my shit, and then they should fuck with the people that support me.
Right.
Got the last one.
Who was
almost
it?
Forgot. Sweets Kendamas.
Oh, the Kendama Gang.
Much like that. Dude.
I think we talked about that in
the.
the last podcast. So anybody who's watching this who doesn't know what Kendamas is, you got to go watch the one with Sean Mack.
Shit, I think I got one right here.
Oh yeah, let's take a look at that pearly beauty.
Oh boy. Oh, wrong pocket.
You want to like have that be the outro as you're going to be doing a little
Some Dama moves.
a little line with it?
So this is a Dama. But yeah, it's this company in Minnesota, and they started helping me out because they just saw I rode and play kendama, and they're very similar. They give you very similar like satisfactions as far as like doing something that you want, trying a line that you want to do, and then if you land it, then you're stoked. No one needs to see it.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like rock climbing, like same shit. Like call it a problem, get it done, and you're like, fuck yeah. So yeah, I got one of these like a year ago, and then I ended up hooking up with a company, and now they like hook me up with them, and fuck, they're sick.
I can vouch that even though I suck at them, they are pretty sick.
They're super fun. I just have one in my bag or my pocket every single day. Like when I'm traveling, definitely. Like if you're at a bus stop, if you're doing anything, you just pull it out and start playing.
You could attract some hippie girls with that thing too, probably.
Hell yeah. Well, and it's good to meet people too. Because if you're playing and someone walks up and they're like, "What the hell is that?" And you're like, yeah,
Fuck
it's this
fight
game.
me.
Hell no, you just be like, oh, it's this game. Like, you want to try? And people are like, yeah. And then they try it, and then it's like, talk about this, and then it turns out that you have other things that go on in each other's lives, and then you can talk about all those
Be like,
things.
oh well, if you go to my website and use my affiliate code ReadStarkAd, then you could get 15% off.
Dude, right? I need a signature Dama. When I go back, I'm gonna talk to him and be like, let me get a colorway.
Yeah.
Try to get a colorway. That'd be
Signature
sick.
rope gang kendama. We're gonna dip it in rope.
Oh, dude, it's already got a nice little rope on there.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah.
You know not what you say. All right, we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you very much, Reed Stark.
You know not what you say. Fucking hell, dude. That was a nice one.
Yeah, that was sick. I gotta drive these guys outside.
Shit, man.
I'm gonna free back the pack right
Oh,
here.
dude,
One down.
You're working.
We out here.